Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing The Time Meddler. Now this DVD was sent to me by one of my subscribers, Unknown289, and I want to give him a very special thank you. I really appreciate this. He also sent me a copy of The Keys of Marinus, which I'm looking forward to watching. This is definitely one of those Doctor Who stories I've been wanting to see for a long time. I know how popular it is in the fandom. When I did my video asking if you could only say one story from each season of Classic Doctor Who, what would it be? There was a lot of people in the comments who for season 2 were picking The Time Meddler. And I can understand why. It's a really good story. I'm going to talk about episode 4 first, and then I'll talk about the story as a whole. We'll just do both of them in this video. Episode 4, I did enjoy. It's nice finding out about the monk, you know, having a TARDIS, being a Time Lord. I enjoy that the Saxons figured out what the monk was up to. If not exactly what he's up to, that he can't be trusted, that they're putting together, the monk wants them to light the fires, even though he gives them some story about waiting on supplies, they figure out, hey, wait, you know, they said there's Vikings out there, you know, the old man, the doctor, said there's Vikings out there, that would send them right here. Maybe the monk's not what he appears to be. I like that they figured that out. It doesn't just... I like that they're not just portrayed as primitives and dumb by, you know, today's standards. You know, they're actually fairly intelligent. They figure that out and storm the castle. I like that. I enjoy... It's interesting watching the whole bit between the Doctor, the monk, Steve, and Vicky, because it does a lot of sidestepping of names. Like, for instance, you know, Stephen's like, oh, is he one of yours? Yes, yes, one of mine. You know, talking about how he's a Time Lord, but they don't call him that because that term hadn't been invented yet. Although he's about 50 years behind, it's odd that he knows that he's going just off the make of the TARDIS, where the Doctor himself flies a very outdated TARDIS. But not at the time. I don't think the TARDIS was considered an extremely old, outdated model back then, you know, that he stole practically from a museum. You know, I don't think it's considered that yet. So it's interesting having all of this knowledge of Who now and seeing how much of it isn't present there. Like the fact that the monk's TARDIS is called a Mark IV, whereas the Doctor's is a Type 40. Now, the monk's could be a Type 40 Mark IV or a Type 41 Mark IV, who knows? But it gives you that impression the monks is supposed to be a bit more advanced. About 50 years more advanced, apparently. You'd think it'd be more than that. Only 50 years? Because 50 years, I think, for a Time Lord isn't long. So 50 years doesn't seem like that long. You figure it'd be like 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, something. Even though the TARDIS does still look similar to a Type 40, since I'm sure they're just reusing the TARDIS set they use for the Doctor's TARDIS. It's nice hearing them banter about that and how his is a little more advanced. But it's nice because we're not hearing them mention, yes, he's a Time Lord like me, or he comes from where I come from, but they're not saying Gallifrey. They're not using these terms that we know now. We're not hearing Gallifrey by name. We're not hearing Time Lord by name. So it's interesting to see all these little side steps, which don't bother me. I mean, they don't bother me in any way. They do stick out a little. It is a little interesting having all of the knowledge of what has come after, that you notice they're not doing that. But it's not bothersome. And, of course, if you're familiar with the lore, you know it's because these terms haven't been invented yet. It's just interesting. It's very interesting. Not in any way bad, just interesting. I enjoyed that whole scene in the TARDIS and how they let the monk slip out again, and just for him to get caught by the Vikings, who immediately are like, no, I'm on your side. You need to go. I don't know. I enjoyed that. I really like Peter playing the monk. He's really good in this. I mentioned in my Episode 3 review, he reminds me a lot of Troughton in this. Just the way he talks, his facial expressions, his body language, and what he does with his hands really make me think of like an evil Troughton. And I really like it. I don't really think of the monk as evil. The evil's definitely not the right word. Just mischievous. A meddler. It just seems to be enjoyable. I did love watching the Doctor talk to him. You have to remember the golden rule about time travel and space travel. You can't interfere or mess with history. It's kind of funny looking at how much the Doctor interferes with history later, especially in the modern series. Like Matt Smith says, we change history all the time. It's interesting going back and seeing like the first Doctor when he's so strict on, you can't change history, not one line. I love that. If you think about it, the Doctor now is more like the meddling monk in some ways than he is the first Doctor. And that's hilarious to me. It's so hilarious to me, seeing the first Doctor so unwilling to change anything, whereas we know modern doctors tend to interfere a lot more. I don't know. It amuses me. I enjoy all of that. I love watching the Doctor rig the monk's TARDIS, how he does it by... And it made me wonder why he was pulling it out from outside. I figured he must be doing something to sabotage or booby-trap the TARDIS. I figured it was sabotage or booby-trap, because he made sure everybody was well out of it before he pulled that switch. I enjoy Hartnell in this one when he's trying to get all that done, and he's trying to get everybody to leave him alone. Didn't I just tell you to not put your nose right there? You'll get the shock of your life. And then he's like, stand outside. And then, of course, Stephen tries to talk to him. The Doctor just looks at him and points. He's like, he just points at him to get out. I love that. Hartnell's really good in this one. Because I know, like during season 3 and season 4, his health's deteriorating. It kind of shows up sometimes. He was having trouble with lines. But here, he's on fire. This last story in season 2, he's on fire. He seems like he is in great health. He's doing fine. He not only is getting his lines really well, but his mannerisms, his expressions, everything. He's being a phenomenal actor here. And it just goes to show that when Hartnell's in top form, he's amazing. And I really, really enjoyed him in this story as well. I like the ending. I like when the monk is reading his letter. And he's like, you're going to have a lot to do. He's right about that. And he's reading it, and you see him being confident, like, he can't stop me. It's a Mark IV. Then as he gets done reading it, he's like, nah. I better check. He doesn't say that, but that look on his face is, I better check. And then when he realizes what the Doctor's done, he can't even get in, that he's taken out the dimensional stabilizer piece. And so the inside of the TARDIS is too small. Darn! He's just, Darn! It's kind of like how somebody mad at the Doctor would yell in the modern series. Just seeing him that frustrated and angry. And it was a really good ending. I enjoyed episode 4. I enjoyed the story as a whole, though. I think my favorite episode was probably episode 3. Hartnell just shines in it. I don't know if there is a weakest. I think all 4 episodes are good. I can tell Hartnell's not there in episode 2, but it's not as out of place and bothersome as it is in 10th Planet and Dalek Invasion of Earth, where it's a little more noticeable and off-putting. It's not off-putting in me at all here. It does a good job of focusing on the other characters and actually making it seem like Hartnell's there because you can hear his voice. So it's something more... I take note of it, but it doesn't bother me. I like Peter playing the monk in all the stories. I like how it slowly builds up to figuring out what's going on with him, like with the watch missing. Even before the watch is found, we see that scene toward the beginning when he checks his arm, and there's nothing there. So it gives you that, okay, he's looking for something, like kind of like the way we would look for a watch, and it's not there. And then later in the episode when they find the watch, you connect the dots, and you're like, okay, watch. The monk must have dropped it. And then, of course, the end of episode 1 with the Doctor finding, the kind of old, not record player, whatever they call it, right there that's making the Gregorian chants, knowing something's up with this monk. And then, of course, that building until they stumble upon the monk's TARDIS at the cliffhanger for episode 3. It's a great cliffhanger. I love that cliffhanger. That's really neat, introducing another Time Lord into the mix like this. I really enjoyed that. That had to be a nice surprise back when it originally aired. I enjoyed the Viking ship. That looked really good. I don't know if that's something they used from something else or something they filmed for this episode, but, with Doctor Who's budget being what it is, you wouldn't think they could have that. And it looked really good. The shots of the ship and the shots of the people on the ship when they're on the ship rowing and everything, pretty impressive. I liked that. I was really impressed by that. I like seeing more of Steve and Vicky because I haven't seen a lot of Steven and Vicky. I've seen more of Steven because I have seen like the Ark and stuff like that. Vicky, though, I think the only other thing I've really seen of her is Galaxy 4, most of which I saw animated. So it's nice to see more of Vicky. I like Vicky. She seems to have some spunk to her. She's kind of young like Susan, but bright and intelligent like Barbara. So it's like if you took the good parts of Susan and the good parts of Barbara, which is all of Barbara, and put them together. or the good parts of Susan, and then you took also Barbara and put them together, you'd have Vicky, and I really like Vicky. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her, since most of season 2 is, or yeah, just about all of season 2 is intact. Hopefully we'll get to see more of her. I really like them together and how they're interacting. I like the little nods to Ian and Barbara at the beginning when they talked about missing them, and how even the Doctor admits he's going to miss them. That really just shows how far he's gone as a character, how he's grown as a character, with him admitting he'll miss them. Them finding Stephen as a stowaway, that's pretty neat. Having not seen whatever story Stephen's from, I guess it would be The Chase. Having not seen that, I don't quite know all the particulars of that, but they seem surprised he's still alive, so that's really interesting there. And him getting adjusted to everything pretty quickly. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. It's a good season finale. I really like the ending shot, too, when the TARDIS dematerializes, and it shows that field of stars, and it has, like, Stephen's face appear, and then Vicky's face appear, and then the first Doctor's face appear. That's a really neat effect, especially for 60s Doctor Who. That looks really impressive. I really liked it. And it's a nice way to end not only a story but a season, because I mean, I don't know if they knew if they were renewed at that point or not. So I really like just that extra little flourish to end the season on, kind of giving one last hero shot, you know, of our heroes. That was pretty cool, and I was not expecting that. So yes, the Time Meddler, I really enjoyed it. I think it lives up to its reputation. I don't find any 4 parts weak, which is impressive considering Hartnell's not there for part 2. But I don't think the story suffers from it, which is not often I can say that with his run. Because 10th Planet Episode 3 suffers, and Dalek Invasion of Earth Episode 4 suffers from it. But I really enjoyed it. I really think it's a great 4-parter, and I really appreciate Unknown sending it to me so I had a chance to watch it. So what do you think of the Time Meddler? I would like to know. Let me know what you think of Episode 4. Let me know what you think of the story as a whole. While I have you here, go ahead and click that like button and click that subscribe button if you would. I am trying to grow the channel to 1,000 subscribers. That is my goal. I've had a couple people ask me lately about YouTube membership stuff and donations. I believe the minimum for that is 1,000 subscribers, and I am working towards that. Now, if you do want to contribute to what I do have a Patreon. There's a link to that down in the description below if you would like to contribute that way. I try to do one exclusive patron video a week just for like my $10 tier and higher. Sometimes I allow early access to videos. I'm trying to get to where I do at least one of those a week. Early access. I try to do behind the scenes stuff, kind of talk about who I am, my life, etc., etc., my process for doing videos, and I like to do polls as well. If that's something that would interest you, or if you just like my work and would like to, you know, just contribute some money to what I do, I would certainly appreciate that. Please check that out. I also have an Amazon wish list. It's down in the description below as well if you would like to check that out. I have a US Amazon wish list, my main one, which is the traditional site. I live in the States. I also have a smaller UK one down there as well. But yeah, if nothing else, I'd appreciate it if you just click the subscribe button if you like what I do. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.